Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 247 DIY. Today I've got some yard work to do and I came out here to the barn only to find that my utility trailer has a punctured inner tube and a flat tire. So in today's episode we're going to go ahead and get a brand new inner tube installed in that flat tire, so stick around. But then after I went ahead and got that tube replaced, I ended up noticing that the wheels were all wobbly and the inner bearings on these wheels are completely shot. They must have been just barely hanging on, and then when I took the wheel off, the bearing completely fell apart. So we're going to go ahead and replace the bearings on these wheels as well as get that flat tire tube replaced. So first thing we got to do is get this wheel off of the trailer. So as far as holding this wheel onto the axle here, all you have is this cotter pin that has been bent over, so you just need to bend it straight so we can pull it out. Now we can go ahead and bring the wheel into the workbench and get a better look at it. So as far as buying a new tube for your tire, all you got to do is look on the tire and it will be printed the size that you're going to need. In this case, it's a 4.80 by 4.00-8. And you're just going to go to the store and they'll have a whole bunch of tubes on the shelf. My go-to is Tractor Supply for purchasing these because they have a whole shelf with all sorts of different tube sizes that you're going to need, but that's what we went ahead and picked up, same exact size right there. The last time I went with the slime version, I felt that that was a little bit better because they do coat the inside of their tube with their slime coating, so if you do get a small puncture, it will sort of self-seal itself, but they were all sold out, so we just got this standard Traveler brand one. Should be fine unless I get another puncture, and then hopefully the next time that happens, they'll have the slime brand one back in stock. So we're just going to go ahead and work the old tube out of here. The first thing you want to do is slip your inflation valve stem here out. And then while it is a little bit tight, you should be able to go and work that deflated tube out of the wheel, leaving the tire in place. I think there actually might be a little bit of air left in this tube. What's going to make that easier so that the air just comes out as it needs to while we're working on this is we'll just take the stem right out of there. Now the air is free to come out. And once you get it started on one side, then it's a lot easier just to pull the old inner tube right out of there. Like that. Take our new inner tube, kind of get it positioned where we want it. We know we want that valve stem to line up with the valve stem hole over there. And this bit can kind of get a little tricky because there's not like a whole ton of room to work with, but you're just going to work your way around, getting that new tube tucked down behind the wheel but inside of the tire. Sometimes I find it easier if you can get that wheel to the inside first for the install. It helps you get it inside the tire. Without having to fight it so much. Just take that valve stem, get it tucked up in there. Get the tire back behind the rim. Now we can start filling it with air. Alright, so at first, because there's no air in there, it's going to be kind of hard. you can't push in on this valve stem because there's no air in the tube. You kind of got to hold it with one hand, and because I don't have like a standard style inflator, you kind of just got to figure it out. But there we go. And so I'll fill it a little bit, and then just kind of try to verify, because sometimes they'll be a little twisted. They should, and I haven't had an issue yet. If they are slightly twisted, they kind of sort themselves out before they fill up all the way, but I just like to make sure everything feels right, and it does. So we'll go ahead and fill that the rest of the way. In this case, for this tire, 30 psi. Really got to get one of those like clip-on style inflators. All right, and so it is a little bit later on after I filmed the part where we replaced the tube in one of the tires, and it is extremely hot today. So if I end up dripping sweat disgustingly everywhere, it's because it's 1,000,000 degrees and like 100% humidity. But I had some things that I got to get done. I'm going to need that cart to tow behind the mower, so I got to get these bearings replaced. I mean, you can see in here that there's just pieces of bearing. That's like the plastic retainer, the sealed portion. And then there's the outer ring still in there, and there's more pieces inside there. So we got to get these bearings replaced. And I took some measurements, hopped on Amazon, and I think I ordered the right ones. I'll put a link to these down in the description below. But these are a bearing that accepts a 5-inch axle, that's the axle size on that wagon. And I forget the outer diameter, what is it? 1 3/8. That's about what I measured. I know for a fact it's 5/8 on that axle, but to the best of my abilities, this was the right measurement I could get for the outer diameter. So hopefully we got the right ones, and we can get these in there, and I can get back to work today. All right, and so much like the way we went ahead and replaced the bearings on a different video with my older Craftsman lawnmower, we're just going to go ahead and take and push the one intact bearing out this side, and I'm probably going to have to get a flathead screwdriver when I reverse this method to get this outer sleeve out of this side. But we should just be able to take something here and just tap these out. Well, that one blew apart too, so we're going to have to work on trying to get that outer sleeve out of there as well. All right, and again, this is something where I could probably just as easily throw this in my press and press these in, but I'll be honest, I'm being a little bit lazy, so I'm just going to do it this way. It should be perfectly fine as long as we make sure that we send this home as straight as we can so it doesn't bind up. And I don't want to hammer directly on this center sleeve and damage the bearing. So I'm just going to use a socket that'll go over that sleeve and sit on the outer ring here, and we can tap this home. And there we go. Now we just got one more to do because the other one fell apart when I took the other wheel off, and we'll be all set to get this wagon back together. And there we go, we got both wheels done. And honestly, once you figure out the method that you're going to use, it's going to work. And the tools that you're going to need, once you get all that together, the process is honestly painless. Just hammer out what's left of the old bearings, hammer in the new bearings, and we can go ahead and slap these back on the wagon. Alright guys, and that's both wheels back on with the new bearings, feeling real good on there. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous at first because these bearings sit a little bit proud, and then as I got out here I thought for a second I wasn't going to have enough room, there's enough space to get to the holes to send these cotter pins through, but there was just enough room to replace these cotter pins with the spacing there, so that worked out perfect. The bearings feel great. I'll be honest that the reason that they probably blew out in the first place is I definitely exceed whatever the intended weight rating was for this wagon quite often. I don't know if there was a weight rating listed for the new bearings that I put in there, but now that I can find them on Amazon and they were relatively cheap, if I do blow them out again, I can go ahead and replace them easy enough. So guys, if you liked the video and you found it helpful, be sure to hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment below, and if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Thanks.